Hey, I have my place in sometimes when I was ranked was the first row. Just to see if I can get on my phone. See cars and tell you. Because from watching the wait, just see like everyone jumping. One of the most beautiful things I ever seen.
A special thing for me, I commissioned. I was a there.
So,
no
you remember came on that something? Or
very, very special.
one of the craziest inspirational. You don't like it.
One of the very powerful teachings brought down from the Alter Rebbe that Alter Rebbe once expressed himself in terms that I don't want Hashem, that I don't want your Nathan, I don't want your Elam Haba, Vil Dich Alein, I want you alone. What does that mean? I want you alone. I don't want any of your revealed type of blessings. I don't want your showering of success, of pleasure, of being able to be zeichet, to enjoy the infinite light of the kedusha, but I want you alone. I don't care about any of my own feelings about that. I should enjoy it. I should appreciate it. I want the Atzmos Alein, the essence of Hashem on its own. So that's verbatim how the teaching is brought down. But to make this idea a little more clear, understand this level of selflessness that the Alter Rebbe was speaking about over here. It's a very beautiful story that was surfacing a few years ago. It came to light, it was publicized of the Rebbe many years ago. So there was a Yid, his name was Levi Shapiro. He lived in Monsey. He was a Satmar Chassid, and he had some Chabad friends, some people who he was acquainted with, who were very close with Chabad, and they kept encouraging him to come to 770, to come to Farbrengen, come experience what it's about. So he came to Farbrengen for Selichot, and he didn't really relate so much. He wasn't the greatest intellectual person that he understood all the deep concepts that the Rebbe was speaking about, and all the great solutions that were said at the Farbrengen. But he felt like, it's an honor in its own to watch the Lubavitch Rebbe, but he also wanted to meet the Lubavitch Rebbe. As was customary by him, when you go to the Rebbe, to the Satmar Rebbe, you would give Shalom Aleichem. So he wanted to do that experience and shake the Rebbe's hand. So at the end of the Farbrengen, he followed the Rebbe, and the Rebbe went into his private room, and he waited outside there for the Rebbe to leave. It must have been the wee hours of the morning, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever time it was. The Farbrengen was very long. And as the Rebbe leaves, he walks up to the Rebbe and pushes his way through the Rebbe's secretary, who was sort of protecting the Rebbe, and he says, Shalom Aleichem, Lubavitch Rebbe, and he sticks out his hand. And the Rebbe looks at him intently, eye, and motions to follow him inside his office. And the Rebbe goes into his office, pulls out of his desk a pile of hundreds and hundreds of letters, and without even hesitating for a second, pulls out from the middle of the pile a letter, gives it to this man, Levi Shapiro, to read. And he starts to read it, and his face turns white. He recognized it right away. His late mother's handwriting. His mother had passed away about a year before then from breast cancer. And he starts reading this letter where his mother is saying, so this woman is writing in extreme emotional terms. Basically, they only discovered the anaphylactic, the cancer, and the doctors basically gave up all hope. They're saying that the chances of her survival are slim. She already, at that point, had been through a lot of the therapy, and she basically lost all the life that she had within her. She had, I think, 11 or 12 kids, very active woman in the summer community. And the doctors at that point said it was basically too late. So she's writing a letter to the Rebbe. She says, "My fate was already sealed. I don't, have my hopes up high. I already am totally at peace with what was Nigzar Alayim and Hashemayim, that my time was up and my shluchas here in this world was complete. But all I'm asking from you, Lubavitch Rebbe, is that my children, my 11, 12 children, Nine Ahara, should grow up to be Yirei Shamayim, to be God-fearing Jews, to be upright people, to be people that are all going to contribute to the world in a good way, in a positive way, and be lamplighters for their fellow human beings." And then she signs the letter at the bottom, asking that the Rebbe bless her, that basically her life should be taken in a peaceful way and in an easy way, and her kids from now on should only have good. This man's almost fainted, couldn't put himself in, he didn't even introduce himself to the Rebbe. There's no way for the Rebbe, they never met before. The Rebbe just looked at his face, brought him into his office, from 500 different piles of letters, pulls out the letter that his mother wrote. He had no idea that his mother even wrote this letter, that she had anything to do with the Rebbe. And the Rebbe gave him a few minutes to recover and to get back to his senses. And then the Rebbe tells him, you should know that every single year, Erev Yom Kippur, I bless all the yeshiva students, Birkas Habanim, the blessings that Father gives the Son. The Rebbe used to give that all the yeshiva students, 770. And then, before I go down to the main shul to say Kol Nidre, I go back to my office and I take this letter that your mother wrote with me, and I read it, and I bring it down with me before we start the Yom Kippur davening. Because this is, in essence, we could add the Derech Efsher. This is what the Rebbe was. The Rebbe didn't care about himself, about his goals, about his achievements. All he wanted was that Hashem. He didn't care about the anything else but that the Hasidim, that his own children, should be serving Hashem and be in the upright path, the proper path. And that's why this letter meant so much. Out of all the thousands and thousands of letters that the Rebbe got, this was the one letter that he picked every single year before Yom Kippur and brought down with him and read. So when we look at this level of selflessness, of just a mother to her children, of the Rebbe to his Chassidim, and of us to Hashem, it's very important before we enter the mode of slichas, we forget about all our distractions and anything else that might be bothering us. In general, it says that the job of a Yisrael, the reason why we have the name Am Yisrael, is Kisarisa and Elekecha, because it says by Yaakov Avinu and Sarisa and Elekecha that he battled with Hashem and he challenged Hashem with God. And Al Rebbe explains that Elekecha is two different names of Hashem generally referred to. There's Elekim and there's Havaya. Elekim, Gematria Teva, right? And that's the idea of nature. Hashem, the way he's confined, the way he's concealed, the way he's constricted within the natural boundaries of the world. So we don't see Hashem. And that's a life of challenge and of everyday, day-to-day life. And that's the avodah of a Jew throughout the whole year. To battle this, to own it, to become a sar, sarisa malikecha, to battle with it, but also to own it and to accomplish that and to get over all the challenges and all the concealments that we have where we don't see Hashem's hand, right, and where things aren't always going the way they should be going. But Rosh Hashanah, we pause for a moment. It's just us and Hashem. We forget about all that because there's a much higher dimension. This is the idea of Havaya, idea of the shofar, above expression, where we're not even using our own chachma and words and forms of expression to intellectualize, to make it that everything should be in a proper step-by-step acceptance of Hashem's blessings. We go much higher. We go to higher than Seder Shtal, higher to all the ways that Hashem, the methods and the channels that Hashem normally uses to give us bracha, and we get to Atzmos, to the essence of Hashem alone. We have this power in Rosh Hashanah. This is the avodah of a Baal Tshuva. That a Baal Tshuva, it says, is even greater than a tzaddik. Why is he greater than a tzaddik? Tzaddik goes within the normal channels of mitzvahs to bring down godliness and to bring down brachas into his life. But a Baal Tshuva is able to, through proper tshuva, through crying out to Hashem with a broken heart, is able to reach even higher, where there's no boundaries, where there's no levels, where there's no step-by-step, where it's just you and Hashem, and you're able to bring upon yourself immeasurable amounts of bracha and shefa and mazel for the coming year. So before Rosh Hashanah, it's important to remember there's also a halacha, very interestingly, that you're not allowed to sleep on Rosh Hashanah. There's also a halacha that you cannot fast on Rosh Hashanah. You have to eat on Rosh Hashanah, but you can't sleep during the daytime. So it's important to remember that we're higher than Simtsum, we're higher than Elikim, we're higher than nature, but at the same time, we eat, we rejoice, because that doesn't disturb us, that doesn't bother us. It's just us and Hashem. So we could either open our eyes and, just like the halacha says, don't sleep on Rosh Hashanah day, be awake and tune into this, or we could let it go by and let this opportunity pass. So what we learn from everything that Siddur tells us, that the opportunity that we have now, whether you're meritorious or not, whether you're on the level where the past year you made as much progress as you should have or not, doesn't make a difference. Now's the time to wake up, open your eyes, cry out to Hashem. Hashem listens to the brokenhearted. And through that, we'll achieve great brachas and great mazel and great shefa. And this coming year will be an amazing, amazing year, full of simcha. No more tzaras, no more flawless, no more confusion, no more challenge, no more turbulence. We had enough of that. We should just celebrate and rejoice in the light of Hashem with Mashiach. Here we amen.
Fire, want to share something? Share us something, fire.
That's you.
I know Rosh Hashanah.
I guess.
Tell us what Rosh Hashanah was like back in Russia.
Back in Russia, I don't remember any Rosh Hashanah. That was completely like serving, those Christmas.
Right.
I never knew anything like about it. It's only the time that I actually get to it was like in Israel. I mean, it's really, I go away from the Kiev, then I go back to the Kiev, and they actually bring me to coming to Judaism, because I started in Los Angeles, go to like Kabbalah, like the Madonna, and then go to their Trump daughter. So they're going through the Kabbalah. I met her on the Shabbat. Then I go to Kiev, I go to Chabad, and the people go to me. I was like, oh, what is wrong? Okay, just they completely aware. So they send me back to Israel, I go to Yeshiva, and the Lord let us think about their Judaism. Then somehow I go around the world, and every time I come into a certain place, I'm asking myself why I'm here. And every time I don't know, the answer is always hidden. Then I try to figure out in my mind and I see I learned something. Get something new. I was like people that I think maybe like different, but they it's like certain things in myself that I learned from them, like how to be maybe different too. So then I just growing. And I'm asking myself, why does it all happen around us? And we all, we all Jew, we all like around the world. And they always, this question is that we just here for certain reasons. I mean, even I don't like this answer. Even why I don't like it? Because I failed. I fail like every day because all my purpose that I'm planning in my head it's not, it doesn't happen. Whenever I go, I'm like the person that is not actually in this certain place. I mean, I live in Tzfat before Boker Tov. If I live in Tzfat, I was like certain like not everybody else. Then I go to here and then Boker Tov. And the guy from Boker Tov, he look at me, I'm gonna say I live in Boker Tov. This has happened to me all my life. Whenever I go, I'm just because I'm a Jew, I'm like in the Galus. Even if I go to Israel, just so that's what Rosh Hashanah comes again, and we have now, what we can do. We can ask that we're all different. We all see things different. But we're all Jew. It doesn't matter where you go, what you see. You come here, on this table, sitting here. I'm listening to wisdom, and we're getting like. This is the wisdom. It's like whatever we see, it's just nothing. things that were going by. It's like heaven. All without the only Torah, there's nothing else. That's what it is. And then we got to Rosh Hashanah, then we come before Rosh Hashanah, we got this parsha, and we got this, we're standing in front of Hashem, and Hashem, why we're standing again? It was like, we got a Torah and they are Har Sinai, we got it, but the Bocha Katai, we got like so many already, like, choices. Then we come to keep the boy, even more choices. What? How many breaks we have to do? Why we're standing again? What? Hashem doesn't trust us, or what is it going? The thing is, because this is the breed that we go personal. Now we come into the breed that we getting responsibility of everybody. So whatever we do, it affects on everybody. So this is what the last one before Rosh Hashanah. So we're not people anymore. We're Jew. We're just one Jew. We're not Israel. That's what we're coming here. Why we're doing sleepers? We're asking for people who cannot come. We're doing the sleepers. That's what we're asking. They don't know the Jew. They don't know the company. They don't know Chabad. They're not there. It doesn't matter. They know nothing. They never been in a situation that people go, no. You have to choose. That's what it is. So I'm not Baruch Hashem. We don't hear. And we know the same thing.
Officials ready to shoot. Someone can fire us. Go for it. Okay. Hi.
So, what's your name?
Blur.
Yeah, so maybe to add what you think about sort of coming in is no matter sort of what type of Jew you are, especially on Elul, that sort of sort of equality or that like equal playing between all Jews even more so. So one of the Rashi tables for Elul is other than but also you could say Ish L'Rehu Matanei Slavi and that's from the Megillah, but it's actually two separate. The phrase is two separate things. So Ish L'Rehu is for Megillas Manes, and Matanei Slavi is for gifts to the poor. So it's actually two separate. Is seemingly two separate ideas, but it's in one phrase that we say for Elul. So it's two separate transactions. One is between Ish L'Rehu, one is with like his fellow, and one is Matanei Slavinim. One is with someone. One is with like giving tzedakah to like a poor person. It's not seemingly why is it one verse? You should have it as two separate things. So there was this story. I don't remember who the rabbi was. But it was like 300 something years ago in Germany, and he went to this shul, and for Yom Kippur, and he went by and he saw by Kol Nidre there was this older man who was like a lot of Pavanas that like saying every word like really loud, and they asked him like, oh. You're up here, you're traveling, where would you want to sit? So he said, I want to sit next to this person. And then so the next day, for Yom Kippur, the person's talking the old man he sat next to was like yelling how they're not yelling, but saying like very loudly and davening where it talks about how you're like dust before Hashem and how you're like nothing. And then and then after Shacharis, it came time for Kriyas Torah, and that was before they auctioned off the Leos. So he got Kamishi. And he went to the Gabbai and he was very mad at the Gabbai. And he's like, how could you give me Kamishi? Don't you know, like, this person got it before me. This person got it before me. How could you give them before me, before you gave it to me? And it's like that. So afterwards, the rabbi asked him, on the one hand, you're talking about how you're like dust, afar, whatever, and then on the next hand, and like 10 minutes later, you're like mad that these people got Aliyahs ahead of you because you think you're better than them. So he said, when I was talking when I was davening, it was in front of Hashem. So compared to Hashem, I'm like nothing. But compared to those three people that got the Aliyah before me, I'm better than all three of them combined. So what the rabbi, when he retold that story, he told a lesson that you're sort of always in front of Hashem, and especially now when Melech Basade and Hashem is like closer sort of than ever. It's you're on a equal play with you're on an equal sort of playing field. No matter like sort of how much you know about her background or anything like that. It's Ish L'Rehu and Matanis Lavinim is considered one even kind of like on the same level. Yeah.
Yeah. I really want to think. Thinking. Angel? Fire? You know what you're about. So barely want to inspire us? A little bit later. A little bit later.
Rabbi, how about you inspire us?
Why should inspire? Fine. Like tells us Rosh Hashanah was like back in Petersburg.
Not the way it is now.
Yeah,
Just move it to
everybody's
it.
done with a small show, but it's thick, I don't worry. Not
Only
Like,
down to the picture.
like in Petersburg, when they built the show was basically kind of a sign that Russian Jews finally kind of got on here with going. It was built like there in Ginsburg and like other local universities, etc. And it was like to show that they're as good as Jews in Germany and anywhere else. They bought the plot of land from Tsar's cousin, Duke Yusupov. That was the wealthiest family in Russia. And they gave, like, we were giving bribes away for 20 years to be able to buy a plot, build a really tall building, because in Petersburg, used to have a law that the tallest building is the house. And you can build higher than people's house at all. Law and like other churches, whatever it is, so it's like nonsense about it. And also to build a thing right next to the theater district, it was kind of close to Jewish district. Jews started living there, like after further down, a little further down the canal or whatever. It was like immigrants, including Jews. But still theater district was for royalty and like novels would hang out. So it was not a simple thing. And then they started building, and right away they built a small theater show. I don't know, like Motins would go there, and whoever lived in Petersburg would sit in all the time, and when the Rebbe's would come, they would out there. You understand? And there was a big show with organ being donated by like Chicago and Chandelier from like Berlin.
Hey, organ here?
It was never connected, but yes, I don't know if they have it, like they have the work at office somewhere there. Like, I think in the center.
It wasn't an orthodox show.
He never played, but basically somebody gave him an organ as a present. The big synagogue was there was no reform back then, but it was kind of like something between Orthodox and Reform. Like they couldn't break the law and whatever. The people who attended weren't good people. People who attended were like Jews or doing their not people who were like wanted to have synagogue traveling too much, but just wanted to. We're Jews. We're not in Ogishman. We kind of kept our religion. And our status is just like Goyim can have their temple in the middle of the city, and all the fancy people come over, to be able to celebrate our religion, and then send synagogue, and then necessarily, like spend all day. People who basically dealing diamonds to the entire family. I don't know. I think Ginsburg was like actually jeweler, like wealthy people. Like, it's not a place where like the kind of variety even if they would down in a small shop. It was a fancy place. People, were like taxes and everything go there. So and we never down there when in '93, I think, I'm not sure. Probably Kessler didn't down there yet, but like, I think he started like '94, whatever it is, because the official private that, and so somebody had to also, have to show it. Millions people come. So when there's a million people down there, I don't know back then, but everybody else was down in the small school, and then I think like Edinburgh, most of them, but the world is just like in Israel or States. But we used to have like a big crowd. I don't know, maybe 150 people, which was for that show was not sure it was big. And I don't know, for Greg, that was good. Same thing, and we had Ramana, who's the cousin with Rosenfeld. Still a couple of Mochkins were still alive, like old ones to come over. And but basically a bunch of the guys were all Jews who started coming to the late 70s, not every year now. Some moved to Israel or States, and some for some reason get stuck there, like beach or family or whatever that.
Who remembers what the shuttle was like before Corona?
It's all,
Don't happen.
Well,
It hasn't been either.
The show was open, I think, in like 1890. There was closed in the 20s for 61. I'm not sure what year. But during the war, it stayed open like the entire time.
Actually, most of the years it was open, that show. Talking about the Choral Synagogue.
But whatever, the
Well,
only
most of the
time-
years they had a voucher, they had a Siddur up most of the years, even though it was a secular show, they had a Siddur rabbi most of the years. Even during
Where, in the 50s or?
no, they had, there's a history there of all the rabbis of the show.
The last, like, the best.
All the museums they had there.
Best rabbi, I don't know, rabbi of the show, but we would go to the different synagogue, it was medallion, and they were actually British, but they were like.
We switched between Siddur and Litvish.
I don't think it was like every rabbi of the show, but it was like a rabbi who was still in rabbi, like before they were. He was the best, like, rabbi, which, like, person was smicha from, like, back in the day. I think he wasn't in it. I don't know, he was, like, very well educated. And then, in 1889, we had
They always had a Siddur minion. But in that show, it's a big show, it's a big fancy show, it's the old 1800s.
around 1890.
Okay? Incredible ceiling, huge ceiling, built by them. So we find they always had to.
We closed it down for a few months in the 20s, but otherwise it always stayed open, and even during the war, because like, people were dying left and right during the war. It's like 60% of whoever died from starvation. They stayed open.
Even during Corona, they don't.
During Corona, no.
Oh, they're not.
Again, I don't know, maybe like wars for some.
Bombs are
reason, but
falling,
because
they don't.
I think they have a kosher restaurant inside the school. So they, I don't think they could both. Like they have more. But not every.
Give you a small story.
Go soul story, and then we're gonna go slip. Okay, go.
1979, about 6 months before I finished my military service in Israel, I was advanced to I became a K'tzin Kishur, the חיל השריון. The job was to oversee the assignment of every soldier in the armed corps and to assign him to a unit in the Israeli army for the future of being a reserve soldier. Follow what I'm saying? After he finishes his service, he has to be assigned for miluim, you know? He has to be assigned to a certain unit. And I had a special map with quotas. Like every unit can get, 3 radio operators, 2, according to the professional profession. I had a quota, how many soldiers from each profession I can assign to a certain unit. So one day comes in a young guy with a beard. I have to understand, I was in Israel then. I knew vaguely, very vaguely about the Lubavitcher Rebbe, about Chabad. In Israel we say it's a local call here, so you don't need to know that much. And besides, I was a young guy, I'm not coming from a very religious background.
Still young.
Yeah. So this guy comes in and he just returned from New York on vacation and he's about to finish his military service. He has 3 children and he asked me to assign him to a unit not far away from Ariel. It's Judah and Samaria, where he lives. And I started to talk to him, and I knew already that after I'm gonna get discharged, I will go to New York. So he tells me, when you are in New York, go get a bracha from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Honestly, I didn't know a lot about it. And I knew vaguely. I only heard vaguely about the Lubavitcher Rebbe, to be honest. So I asked him, where is it? So he tells me, give me a piece of paper and a pen. So I gave him a military blank. And on the back of it, he wrote 770 Eastern Parkway, Brooklyn, New York, 11213. And I folded it many times. From a half a page, it became a very small folding, and I put it in the back of my passport. Couple of weeks ago, I had to renew my passport, and I found it in the cover of the passport. I'll bring it to the shul, but I'm afraid that if we open it, it will fall apart. No, honestly, it's being folded like this for 40 years already. What I'm trying to say is, apparently, I called B'Hashgacha Pratit, and I became close to Chabad, and I went to the Rebbe many times, and I returned his father's shul to the community there, and suddenly I see this petek, that this guy wrote about 770, and you will see this military forum, how it's folded, and it's stayed folded for 40 years. If we open it once again, I'm afraid, honestly, it will really fall apart. It's folded 40 years like this. Yeah. I was really honestly surprised to see this.
That's the message maybe
this
that you should
special.
go to 770. Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. I'll bring it, I show you.
116, actually. That's it right now. Fine. Let's do it right away.
Ksiva v'chasimatay v'lashanatay v'omesuka. Shanatay v'omesuka. Ksiva v'chasimatay v'lashanatay.
All right. We said this. Tuning for Sluchas. Come join us again in 10 seconds. We're gonna reset this. Resetting it right now.